everybody has been admitted.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:01. And we'll start with roll call. We have myself, Joy Greenstein. We have Caroline Cowles and Sarah Devine and Casey Dia and Mr. Farisi. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining. Any public comment? Okay. Irene, or no?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to mention, I know you were talking about the oil tank tonight. I'm not sure if that's at Wisconsin or the one at Brookfield High School, but at Wisconsin, they are planning to rehabilitate those baseball fields in the back. So I want to make sure everybody coordinates with the town, knowing that I would hate for all that paving to be done in the back and then large trucks coming in to rehabilitate the baseball fields. I just want to make sure all the Parks and Rec, NBC, and everybody's talking to each other, all these projects going on. So I just wanted to mention it here so everybody's aware of it.
Thank you, Irene. Maybe Casey can speak to that once we get there to old business. Okay. Well, school dude reports. I didn't know if you want to say anything, Casey. I read them over.
I don't have much to report on them. I was happy to take any questions. I
only had two simple questions.
Okay,
but.
Sure. And I don't know that I would be able to answer them, Joy, tonight, but our facility supervisor is still out on leave. He will be out for an extended time. We do have some additional support from one of our maintenance mechanics that is picking up that slack and is stepping in as more of a lead role there. So I can get him questions and he can, get those answered tomorrow, but I probably won't have the answers, but I'd love to hear the questions.
Okay. Yeah, I just had the one on number 6820.
Okay.
The one, page 1 of 1.
Yep.
I didn't know if that bathroom is one that's been closed because of it, because it says there was some vandalism with the hands-free toilet flushometer.
Okay.
So I didn't know if that was closed because of that.
Okay. I'll find out.
Okay, and the other one was the last 6844. It was the very last one of the 5-page document.
Yep. Okay.
CLES. They said to ask to put a plastic box around the fire alarm so the children can't pull it. I just know usually, like in my school, they have a plastic box over it, so I didn't know if they were looking for something additional.
Okay. I can find out more about that.
Because I would hope there will be a cover on it for the fire alarm. We don't want those little ones pulling it or lifting it.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I didn't know if that was something they just missed or it's just something in addition to what that's normally there.
Right. Like, is it something the contractors missed to, didn't put on?
So I haven't heard this come up as like a code issue at all in any of the conversations, but I can find out certainly if that's above and beyond, or if there's nothing there preventing that from happening. I remember the days of elementary school when little Johnny would.
Sure.
We don't want that happening. I will find out about that. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, and that was it.
Okay. Any questions from anybody else?
Anybody else? All right. So new business, maintenance updates.
Okay. So I have a abbreviated list here from our maintenance mechanic that he provided on some issues that had been happening over the last month at all 3 buildings. CLES has it's called a DOAU2. It's one of our air handlers up in the ceiling. It continued to have a freeze stat alarm that kept tripping. And when that freeze stat alarm trips, the unit shuts down and it has to be reset. So it's not as if it's a malfunction and the unit is broken, but it has to go, somebody it would be Joe, would have to go into the system, reset it, and it would turn back on. This was happening very, very frequently, and I mean like 3 dozen times a day, several times an hour. And so Train, who is the manufacturer of the air handler, they came out, they've looked at the unit. They did not see anything wrong. ABS, who is our technology software company that does the talking to the unit, right, between the platform and the unit itself, they looked at what they could, they didn't see anything. So this continued to happen. We had both vendors come out on site last Friday, and basically it was do not pass go, do not collect the $200 until we figure out what is wrong with this, because it was only this one unit that this was happening. They ended up, ABS actually came out 3 times. Finally, they both came out last Friday. They replaced the freeze stat unit itself. The issues with the programming, there were, and then they realized that there were some issues with the fine tuning of the programming, but in ABS. And so they made some adjustments. They think they pinpointed exactly why that was tripping. They were able to replicate, that issue. And then they made some adjustments, and it has been so much better since. It has not happened since. They did the same correction to all the other units that are set up on that system. Unclear as to why those other systems weren't tripping the same way that this one unit was, but so far so good, knock on wood. Things this week have been much, much, much better. A contractor was out to work on the lighting system in some of the classrooms, and all of those issues have been resolved at this point. So there are some classrooms that were reporting a ticking noise, and this has been fixed by replacing flow regulators in the valve body. So they think they did, and this has been ongoing for some time in various classrooms. They think they did find out the source of that, and it's a flow regulator, and those have been replaced. At BHS, there was alarms on boiler 1. ABS came out to check control signals. Edgerton has been out to look at the burners. These are, again, this is a problem with the age of these oil burners. We're just trying to get them through another heating season, but they're running. We're having contractors and vendors out as needed to address any issues. Johnson Controls, this is now moving on to Wisconsin. Johnson Control was out to look into some of the strobes on the fire alarm in some location in one wing of the building near the gyms were not working. So they are coming back to make those repairs. All staff, custodial staff, everybody is alerted to that being down. And so if there is ever, a fire alarm that goes off, everyone knows to manually go, and if anybody is in the gym after hours, to evacuate them. So also at Wisconsin, there's been a problem with the sewer pumps in a closet. It's really due to these really, really cold temperatures, particularly over the long weekends when the door remains closed and there's not a lot of activity. The ejector pump, the discharge pipes on the ejector pumps were freezing in some spots, causing a backup. So Joe and his team, they had to temporarily close 2 bathrooms in that area until things were flushed out and resolved. Fortunately, with the warmer weather, that is not a problem. We are going to get a space heater in there for those colder days, to keep that a little bit more temperate, so we don't run into that problem again. Certainly not running them overnight or for extended periods, but and that was the bulk of the activity across the district in the last several weeks. And I can send you those notes, Joy.
Yeah, I took notes, but yeah, if you could send it to me, that would be great. Just to double check what I have. I do remember the ticking thing being a problem since, I was in there helping a classroom set up. I remember hearing it. So is this basically the solution?
Yeah, I think it sounds like it. it's been fixed by replacing flow regulators in the valve body. So they did pinpoint what that problem is. If it comes up again in the same systems, then I would question whether or not we have found it. But I think when they did replace those, the ticking noise has stopped, and we'll continue to monitor it.
Okay.
Not to say that it may not happen in another area of the building, and we would have to just address those, but it looks like where they are making these repairs, it's helping the problem.
Okay. Okay, so old business, oil tank replacement proposals.
Yes. So we have, if you recall, we have secured capital funding for the oil tank replacement at the high school. That oil tank is located, if you know, at the front of the building near the cafeteria entrance, where the generator is. The oil tank is right around there. It's under the large walk-in freezer in the back of the cafeteria entrance. So we have secured funding for that. $500,000 was what we put in the capital plan two cycles ago. And then in this cycle, this current capital request for 26-27, we have requested funding for $400,000 for Wisconir. Difference in BHS and Wisconir. The Wisconir oil tank replacement is much more straightforward. There's nothing sitting on top of that underground oil tank except for the asphalt itself. There's no other units. It's not very, I mean, it's closer to the building, but it's not as intricate as where BHS's is located. We did get a proposal on each from a company that does a design. They provide design to build services. So they design the project and then they do the project. They are on the state contract. So it is not something that if we were to use them, we would have to go out to bid on. However, my recommendation is that while, the projects are complete and whole, we do actually, I would recommend we do put both of these projects out to bid, because they are slightly higher than what we have put in the budget. So for the high school, as I said, we have secured $500,000 for that project. This design build project came in at $543,925. So it's almost $44,000 over that budget. The Wisconir project, like I said, we have an estimate of $400,000 in there, and that this project came in at $420,156. So I can't tell you that we would get better pricing, if that would change if we go out to bid, but I certainly don't think it's going to hurt. And so, so that would be my recommendation. Certainly for the Wisconir project, that is part of this current year's capital request, along with the paving. And so I think to Mrs. Correa's point, I think all of that will be part of the conversation of all of that work that happens in that back area. I don't know when those fields are happening, if they're happening this summer or later, but certainly these are all projects that go through the town capital committee, and there will be coordination there.
And what was the number again? You said that that it came in for the high school.
$543,925.
Okay, so all right.
So I just think a project of this size, certainly, it would behoove us to just put it out to bid, see if there's, any more competitive pricing out there for these projects.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. Okay.
And alternatively, update certainly the capital committee of the estimate that we do have, for Wisconir, since that's currently being considered in the capital planning, and notify them right now of what this looks like. But hopefully we could find a project that would come in under budget.
Okay. Anybody have any questions regarding the oil tank replacements proposals?
Just one quick question, and I probably missed it driving. I apologize. What's the timing of the two projects again?
So funding has been secured for the oil tank at the high school. So that project can happen as soon as we have project plans and we're out of school. It definitely is going to be a summer project because of the, we're gonna have to rip up part of the driveway and it's,
Yeah.
all that.
Yep.
So it will be a summer project. If we can get a bid out and get plans back, for this summer, that would be ideal.
Okay.
Because like I said, this has been a project that we've been trying to get off the ground now for, a year and a half.
Mhm.
So that would be ideal. And so
Okay.
if the committee is, in agreement that that's sort of the direction we should go, we would certainly get to work on, putting that together.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna ask. So what's the next steps? Like, do we have to approve that you put it out to bid, or what do we have to do?
Do you want us to do a motion?
It's certainly up to you. I'm really looking for just like for guidance and your feedback on that. I mean, we can certainly do that if that is like, if you agree with that, strategy on how to move this project forward, then you can just say.
Well, I don't think it hurts, right? It doesn't hurt to go out to bid, especially.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So let's definitely move forward with that for sure.
I think it would be the responsible thing to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great. So we will get to work on that and come back next month with where we're at.
And then the timing on the middle school?
So the timing, we'll have to coordinate with the town. Like I said, I don't know where they are with the ball field project.
Okay.
As I said, we haven't secured the funding for that yet. That's got to go to referendum this May.
Okay. I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
So it would likely be a next summer project then.
It depends on the timing of the other projects that are gonna happen back there. I don't know, but I can find out what they think their timing is of the other projects, certainly.
Okay.
Seems like that would be more feasible next year, but yeah.
Yeah. I know, even though it's February,
Mm-hmm.
I know.
June is like tomorrow, so.
Exactly.
Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay. Any miscellaneous discussion?
I was just curious around like the bathroom scenario at the high school, and it sounds as though this has been something that's been an ongoing struggle, and just being new, I just am curious what's happening.
Well, I appreciate you asking about that. Being new as well, I was curious, and I had an opportunity on Monday to visit the high school Monday morning. Not only meet a number of wonderful staff and students, but also kind of take a look around and try to better understand the current situation. Equally, we had, I think, Chris Marquis, if that's accurate, and another gentleman from the town take a walk through as well, separate and independent from myself or administration at the high school. And they also conducted a thorough review. I'm glad to report that he, Mr. Steve Dunn, and Mr. Belanda and myself will be working together to really review which bathrooms are available, which ones kind of meet the criteria outlined in the ratio of number of students to, fixtures and toilets and that type of information. So we kind of will parcel it into two buckets. Number one, lavatories available to students, because that is critical, right? Student access to bathrooms. But number two, student safety as well. So, do we have the right ratio in accordance with the regulations? And, and are we also able to maintain safety within the ratio that we're required to comply with? So that is a work in progress. I believe Chris Marquise is getting back to us soon to go and do that walkthrough. He was working on getting some plans together to help with that. And then we're going to go and really review that so we can make very good decisions around that at the high school.
Okay. Does it seem as though some of them need repair potentially?
I think, that would be part of it. To my knowledge to date, that is not necessarily the reason why, but I don't know if you have more information on that.
Yeah,
Casey.
no, you're right, Stephen. So, and I wanted to say that the vast majority of bathrooms, the decision for closing any bathrooms is not really related to them being in any way disrepair.
Correct.
We do have
Okay.
A plan of renovating bathrooms. Every other year, we're tackling the bathrooms at the high school. But I don't think the closure of any bathrooms, maybe I can't say any,
Right.
but the closure of the vast majority of any of those bathrooms that are closed is not related to, a maintenance type issue.
Correct.
It's more of, I think, student, safety, supervision, that type of thing.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay. When do you think would be a reasonable time to kind of get an update on this?
My understanding was that hopefully tomorrow we would get a date. So tomorrow I think we'll be able to get a date and time that we will all be going to the high school to do the walkthrough and make determinations and decisions. My hope would be that date and time would be later next week when school is back in session. And
Okay.
so my hope would be Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday of next week. That is what I'm pushing for. I am waiting for the town to gather certain materials that they want to have accessible for the walkthrough, though. However, so I am somewhat reliant upon their time frame as well to be able to execute the walkthrough.
Okay. So I think at a minimum, we should be able to touch on this at the next facilities meeting, which Joy is it's usually the first week of the month, right? This has moved.
Correct. So
Okay.
March 4th is the first Wednesday. It's right before our Board of Ed meeting.
I would absolutely hope so.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Actually, I do have another question. Sorry. I'm just curious on where we're at with the solar project and the roof replacement project. I know we chatted about it, I think, at the last facilities meeting, but I didn't hear it tonight.
So actually, I just received an update today. So the roof replacements, right? That's part of the capital request. So that all would go to referendum, depending
Right.
on the capital committee's recommendation.
Yep.
And I did receive an update today on the timing of the capital project itself. That I believe VIII, which is the company that is sort of helping us with this project. They, and I forget what the name is, but they essentially, hang on, I'm looking for my email. Please forgive me. No. Okay. Oh, here. So VIII has essentially safe harbored their solar projects. So they have a longer timeline until 2029 to complete the projects. So I think that alleviates some of that pressure of that. There was a July 1 that the project had to start in order to qualify for these incentives. I think the project still probably has to start, sooner rather than later. However, there is a sort of a pressure release of that tight timeline based on what I just learned a couple hours ago.
Oh, that's a pretty big big news, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
That's great.
And then did we have funding to start the design work, Casey, or is that all part of the referendum request as well?
So there is funding to start the design work based on the prior two capital cycles that approved funding for roofs at both BHS and Wisconsin. So you recall these were all going to be smaller projects to begin with, and at BHS they still are smaller projects. And so if we sort of pool all those funds together, that has already been approved, which is over $1 million, there will be there's enough money to get that started. Absolutely.
Okay. And when are we looking to start that now?
So we have, our purchasing agent is looking into, we have a bunch of bids. We have, I think, 5 bids that have come through, 5 or 6 for the engineering design services. There are some follow-up questions going back and forth between our purchasing department and the lowest bidder to ensure that everything that is in was provided in their scope of services is what we are expecting to receive.
That there were no misses? Yeah.
Correct. And so and so they're still sort of going back and forth on that. That was our last update on Tuesday when we met with town leadership. So yeah, so as soon as we have a really good understanding of all of that, we will select the architect and services to
Engineer.
Get the design started.
Okay. And we're all set with the motions that we passed in the January BOE meeting on, being, in line for all the grant money and everything?
Correct. The Board of Selectmen at their meeting this month did, adopt those resolutions, pass those resolutions. Yes.
As well? Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
Now I'm done. Oh, you're muted, Joy.
I was on mute. I didn't even realize. I said thank you, everybody, for joining us. Casey, thank you, and Stephen, thank you for joining our your first facilities meeting. I hope it was fun.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks,
I'll
everybody.
adjourn at 6:28.
Great.
Great.
Have
Thank
a
you.
good night.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.